On everyone. So real quick before we talk about the Nebraska Northwestern game, I thought this was pretty cool in the Avia Stadium in Ireland because the game is being played in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland to be specific. Started offering free beer to fans at Nebraska Northwestern since the internet was down, and there was like a ridiculous wave of people because free beer, why not? And that's just such an Ireland thing to do, right? I thought it was really cool. Thought it was something that at least worth mentioning in this video. But getting into Nebraska, Nebraska played Northwestern, and they are absolutely atrocious. This was a huge year for Nebraska. They had 22 transfers, new coordinator, new quarterback. Everything was just primed and ready for Nebraska to really make a statement. They're playing in a neutral field, coming out, usually dominate this matchup. They were a 12.5-point favorite and were just garbage. This whole game, from the jump, first half was just an embarrassment of riches. They, in the second half, in the third quarter, have a 2-score lead, and then decide to punt onside, do an onside kick in the middle of the third quarter when you're actually dominating, have momentum, pushing the ball up the field. You finally regain the lead, everything, and now you want to do that? This was just a disaster. The offensive line was super dominant for Northwestern. Just completely dominant. Western's front line was incredible on the offensive end. Nebraska had no answers. You had Helinski have all the time in the world. That dude was making sandwiches, getting tattoos, getting his hair done, buying new shoes, ordering packages off of Amazon. By the time they even got to him and even were able to put a hand on him. This was a terrible display for Nebraska. This was, seriously, it was embarrassing. From all of the fumbles, they had 3 turnovers total, 2 interceptions, a fumble, just sloppy play all around. They missed a 56-yard field goal to end the half, which, okay, it was a long field goal. They were just trying to get some points to tie the game going into halftime. But they came out in the third quarter and still were sloppy, yet it seemed like Northwestern just wasn't able to continue that momentum and ride that momentum. And you had an opportunity to put your foot on their throat and just run them out the building. And you do an onside kick that ends up leading to a touchdown. You let them back in the game, and you get no offensive momentum from there on out. Nothing. You couldn't get nothing. It was a terrible. Seriously. This was a huge, huge blunder for this Nebraska team. This was a team with so much aspiration, so much hope going into this season. And they played like, I don't think I've seen a worse team play. Seriously, against what should have been, and I'm not saying Northwestern isn't a good team. They are a solid team. And this game, if it would have been close, okay, I get it. If you look at the score, this game, you would say, okay, this game was really close. But no, if you watch this game from start to finish, this was completely lopsided by a Northwestern team that didn't play very good. It's not like Northwestern was out there just completely dominating and just being this ridiculous juggernaut. No, they were horrible. They were turning the ball over. They were having bad moments. But Northwestern, literally, the run defense for Nebraska is just, if this is a precursor for the rest of the season, Nebraska might have the worst run defense in the league. Dude, Northwestern ran 15 straight run plays and got from the 5-yard line to the 44-yard line on Nebraska's side. And it was just run play after run play after run play. And it was why? Why throw the ball? You don't need to throw the ball. You got to just let the run. And now Nebraska lost their very first game. They lose 31-28. They have a silly pick. The quarterback's just throwing just these darts with no accuracy. And this was supposed to be his moment. This was Nebraska's moment. This is what they got this offensive coordinator for. You hear all the commentary, all the conversations about this, that, and the other, and 3 plays later, it's an interception. 3 plays later, you lose the game. It was an embarrassment. Nebraska should be absolutely embarrassed. Seriously. And I'm not a Nebraska fan by any means when it comes to college football. But this was a game that I expected. You're starting the season. You want to come out. You want to make. And no, you're terrible. Like, that was a terrible display. If you're a Nebraska fan, you should feel embarrassed for this team. This was a terrible display. Seriously. I mean, it was like, I mean, me and like 11 of you guys watching this video could probably have played better than Nebraska did. I mean, I don't know. I'm shocked for words. Look, if they played a competitive game and lost, okay, that's one thing. I get it. First game of the season. You don't want to put too much into it. No. This wasn't like, it's a first game of the season, like it was a tough game. Like, no, they played like as if these people have never played football before. And again, they had 22 transfers. So this is a veteran team. This isn't a brand new, like, this is our first year in college football. And so we have nerves and we're playing in Ireland. And so we're just nervous. That's not what this is, because you have a team full of veterans. Your entire roster is essentially nothing but veteran guys that have been there, have played on other teams, have played for multiple seasons. This was a veteran Nebraska team that was supposed to come out and really show. They had a quarterback that was a favorable matchup. Like, all of the odds had them as just winning in a dominant fashion. And look, you win some, you lose some. I get it. But this wasn't we just had a bad game and lost. No, this was like, they weren't doing anything. Just sloppy play on both ends. Couldn't protect the pass rush. Couldn't get to the quarterback. Couldn't stop the run. Couldn't stop the pass. I mean, there was no defense on Nebraska's side other than like a couple spurts here and there. Northwestern was doing everything they could to try to give that game to Nebraska, and Nebraska just kept giving it back. Nebraska gets the stop they need. They got like 2.5 minutes left to go down the field and put points on the board. They only need a field goal to tie it, which would have been a miracle in and of itself. They're trotting down the field. They get a great play from the receiver. And then the quarterback throws a silly pass over the middle, just too high, a dart, goes through the guy's hands right into Northwestern, and they win. Like this, I mean, seriously, they should start an entire cut everybody and start from fresh. That's how bad this was. And look, if you didn't see the game, you do not understand how bad this was. If you just watch the highlights, or you just look at the box scores and stuff, you're gonna see like, it was just, it was a rough game, they lost by 3. No. Go watch the game. Go rewind that entire game. Watch from start to finish. That wasn't it was a tough fought game and we lost. No, that was we are terrible. And if this is the trajectory for the rest of the season, Nebraska can just go home and not even play this season, because that was an embarrassment. But anyway, those are my thoughts and opinions. It's not how I wanted to start the football season. I thought Nebraska would be a good game. They come out, they dominate. Like, let's see that be the case. And no, they don't. Even if I wasn't even against a good game. Like I said, I didn't have a dog in the fight either way. I'm not a fan of either team. I could care less who won this game. But it's one of those things. Like, you are supposed to be this new, like, we're reinventing, you saw all the hype leading into the season. You're bragging about how you're a veteran team. You got this star coordinator. You got this great coach. You got all the pieces together. You got an upgraded defense, an upgraded D-line, upgraded O-line. Like, you're primed and ready to go up against the Wisconsins of this world and take out these teams. And you get completely dominated by Northwestern. Like, seriously, it was an embarrassment. But again, those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I want to hear from you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you think Nebraska, that game was absolutely trash? They just go home, run them out of Ireland. That was embarrassing. Or do you think, no, like, it was just the first game of the year, adjustments, things will be made. Like I said, this was a veteran team. If this was a team that had 15 guys that were, brand new, first year, new coach, new all that. Yeah, they had a new offensive coordinator, but he's not some random guy. He's a guy that has the pedigree, all that stuff. They've had time to work this out. You have a veteran team. Like, if it was some new, they got all these new players and stuff, I'd be like, okay, give them time to work it out. Not a big deal. But that's not what this was. You have your star quarterback, you have your star offensive coordinator, you got this defense and this defensive line. You're supposed to be this elite team and supposed to be making an establishment, and you did it. You just dropped the ball and were absolutely terrible. So anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.